ENCLAPSലേക്കുള്ള വഴി ഇനി തനിയെ തുറക്കാം. Subscribe to the Enclaps channel. Ring the bell button and open success. It's that easy.
Hi. Today we are going to study about the American War of Independence. Do you know this statue? Yes, all of you might be familiar with this. Yes, Statue of Liberty. One of the world famous statue located in America. This statue was gifted by France in the centenary of American Declaration of Independence. America's Declaration of Independence? Yes, the world's largest economic power was once a British colony. They fought for independence, and so we are going to study about that. Who invented America? You might have heard this question very much. Yes, Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus was the European sailor who gave the world the first information about the continent America. He called the indigenous people of America as Indians, as he thought that the place he reached was India. Later, the people of America were known as the Red Indians. In the 17th century, due to the religious persecution of the King of England, a group of people exiled to America in a ship called Mayflower and established colonies there. They were known as the Pilgrim Fathers. The major aim of their migration was to exploit the resources of America. These are the 13 colonies established by England in the eastern coast of North America: New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia.
പാഠഭാഗത്തെ എല്ലാ പരീക്ഷണങ്ങളും ഇനി വീഡിയോ രൂപത്തിൽ കണ്ടുപഠിക്കാം എൻക്ലാപ്സ് ലാബിലൂടെ. ഇപ്പോൾ തന്നെ ഡൗൺലോഡ് ചെയ്യൂ എൻക്ലാപ്സ് ദ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ട്യൂഷൻ ആപ്പ്.
The British treated the American colonies as centers for collecting raw materials for their industry and as market for selling their products. This policy, implemented by the British merchants with the help of their motherland in the American colonies, is known as mercantilism. As part of mercantilism, several laws were implemented in the British colonies. Let's study a few of them. The goods to and from the colonies must be carried only in British ships or ships built in the British colonies. Products of the colonies like sugar, wool, cotton, tobacco, etc. could only be exported to England. British stamp must be affixed on all the legal documents, newspapers, pamphlets, license, etc. Colonies must provide food and quarters for the British troops which were maintained in the colonies. Import tax must be paid for the import of tea, glass, paper, etc. In addition to these exploitative policies, colonies had no right to represent in the English government. James Otis, the great American thinker, protested against this. He framed the slogan, "No taxation without representation." The ideologies of thinkers like John Locke, Thomas Paine, etc. also stimulated the people of the colonies to fight against these exploitative laws of the British. In this scenario, the first strong protest occurred in 1773, the Boston Tea Party. The high tax levied by the British government on tea fired up strong protests in America. The protesters threw packets of tea into the sea, and this incident was known as the Boston Tea Party. One another important part of the protest was the first Continental Congress in 1774 to protest against the policies and rules imposed by the England. The delegates of all the colonies except Georgia met at Philadelphia in 1774. It is known as the First Continental Congress. The people of colonies submitted a petition to the King of England by demanding the revocation of the regulations enforced on industry and commerce and not to impose tax without the approval of the people. But the king sent a military force to suppress the people. This led to the war between the England and the colonies. The next was the Second Continental Congress in 1775. The Second Continental Congress was held at Philadelphia in 1775. This time, all the 13 colonies participated in the Continental Congress. George Washington was elected as the Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army.
നിങ്ങൾ കേരള സ്റ്റേറ്റ് സിലബസ് ആണോ പഠിക്കുന്നത് എങ്കിൽ എല്ലാ വിഷയങ്ങളുമായി എൻക്ലാപ്സ് ഇപ്പോൾ തന്നെ ഡൗൺലോഡ് ചെയ്യൂ.
1776, July 4. It was in this day that the American Continental Congress issued the famous Declaration of Independence. This declaration was prepared by Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, and John Adams. Let's see what are the major points in this declaration regarding the human rights and freedom. All are equal. Everyone has certain rights. The governments instituted should derive their powers from the consent of the governed. The war between England and the colonies in North America that began with the Declaration of Freedom ended in 1781. According to the Treaty of Paris in 1783, England ratified the freedom of 13 colonies. Under the leadership of James Madison, the Constitutional Convention held at Philadelphia framed the American Constitution. George Washington became the first president of the United States of America. This was the beginning of the great journey of United States of America. Hope you understood about the American War of Independence. It greatly influenced the later history of the world in many ways. Let's see them. It gave direction and motivation to the later freedom struggles and the revolutions all over the world. It put forward the concept of republican form of government, prepared the first written constitution, contributed to the concept of federal system that ensure freedom and authority of states in the union. Hope you understood about the American War of Independence, which greatly influenced the world. See you later.
3 ലക്ഷത്തിലേറെ വരുന്ന ചോദ്യോത്തരങ്ങൾ ഏറ്റവും കുറഞ്ഞ ചിലവിൽ സ്വന്തമാക്കുവാൻ ഉടൻ തന്നെ ഡൗൺലോഡ് ചെയ്യൂ എൻക്ലാപ്സ് ദ ലേണിംഗ് ആപ്പ്.